Spartan 765 here today. Today I'm doing a video review on a car holster that I made, or retrofitted, I should say, a holster I retrofitted more or less to have in my car. And this is a project I've been wanting to do now for a period of about a year, maybe a little bit longer. But I just really didn't see the need to do the holster because my regular holster on my belt, my level 2 Serpa, didn't really get in the way that much. This is something you can do with any, if your state allows you to, you got to make sure you check your local and state laws before you make a car holster. You just want to make sure it's legal. In my state it is, and you can have the firearm in any part of the vehicle, it's perfectly legal. Now, what I'm going over now is the reason I'm doing this car holster is because I just got a new job working armored security, and I decided finally, I've been saying I was going to pick up a level 3 Blackhawk Serpa for a while, and I finally did. Just because I'm going to be working security, I want a good duty holster. The thing that sucks about this duty holster is that it is rather bulky. Being a level 3, getting in the car, and as you can see, this is my car here. It's the first time it's ever been seen on YouTube. This is a 2009 Hyundai Accent. I know a lot of people probably would not expect me to drive that particular vehicle. But it is what it is. And I'm going to go over why I mounted the holster, why I did in this car. This is pretty much going to go over, you can mount a holster in any type of vehicle. It doesn't just have to be a truck or a bigger car. You can do it with one of these little rice burners too. Alright, now we're going to transition into the vehicle here, and my buddy's going to open the door, and sorry for the horse shit lighting, it is what it is. But he's got a flashlight to aid in it. So when I get in the vehicle here, the first thing I'm going to do is when I get to this position here, obviously transition my firearm safely right into the holster like that. Now, that makes the sitting in the vehicle a lot easier with this holster. Now I'm going to go over this here. This is just, like I said, a level 2 Serpa. Mounted right here. So when you sit in a vehicle on these smaller compact cars, it's a lot easier to show over here so you can see how small and crappy it is. On these smaller compact cars, it's impossible to really put one right here. But this center area is narrow enough where you can comfortably put the holster right here, and you can very easily and very comfortably draw the gun. Now, if you have a passenger riding in the vehicle with you, it's questionable whether you'd want to have that there. If they have a carry permit, yeah, it's fine. If they don't have a carry permit, you probably just want to keep the gun in your belt. But most of my friends, in fact, all of my friends have carry permits, so that's not an issue for me. But yeah, it's very nice because if you're driving, if you look at here, I'll show over here on this level 3 Serpa is a pain in the ass. As you see, when you have the seatbelt on, it completely obstructs where the gun would be, and you can't, you couldn't even access the gun, and I've tried sitting here with the gun, it's just not comfortable. In fact, it almost seems like it'd be hard in the gun. With the holster right here, the only thing you're looking at here is, yeah, somebody could see it in the window if they're sitting in a big truck, but honestly, that's not that big of a deal. I don't really care if anybody sees, if I'm at a stoplight and somebody sees it there, that doesn't bother me. I'd rather have my gun accessible in case, the unfortunate or unlikely chance that someone would try and carjack me or whatever. I want to have my gun right there. Now, pretty much what I did here is I just took a Serpa holster, took this console out, took some elevator bolts, 4 wide-faced or wide-headed, and I covered them with electrical tape here so it's easier if you bump the gun here, they're not shiny. I took 4 elevator bolts that are 3/8 inch and some washers on the other side, some lock nuts, and did the job properly instead of just screwing it in here. So this holster is a very firm holster. It's not going to come undone. It's not going to come undone from vibrations. I have high-grade bolt or lock washers on there. It is very firm. It's not just Velcroed on there. A lot of people will half-ass it when they do a car holster and Velcroed on there or screwed in with wood screws, and that's just not the way to do it. You want something that's going to be secure, something that's going to hold your firearm good. And a Serpa for this purpose is very good because if you're going on a bumpy road and if you just have a passive retention holster, level 1. It will just, if you go over bumps, it could fly out and land on the floor. With the Serpa, you got that button and that extra added sense of security there. Which is nice, doesn't get in the way of the shifter. This is a manual, so, any gear it's in, you can pretty much sit comfortably, and if a threat presents itself, you can draw very quickly. This is a holster, so very safe. One of the biggest things when you transition from holster to holster is obviously safety. You want to make sure you keep your finger off the trigger. You don't want to be one of those statistics where somebody accidentally discharges a firearm. Like I said, when I get out of the vehicle here, I'm not going to, just try and do one of these numbers and try and, stick it in there half-ass, lean out a little bit like this so the holster is fully exposed. Grab the firearm, keep my finger off the trigger, bring it around the shifter, always keep it pointed down and into the holster. Close the holster. Yes, this firearm is loaded, so don't ask. It is my primary carry gun. It's loaded at all times. That's why when you're transitioning, it is extremely important to keep the gun, when you transition from your car holster to your regular holster, or your regular holster to your car holster, to keep your finger off the trigger and keep the gun pointed down at all times when you transition into the holster here. You don't want to, do one of these numbers and bring it up. I'm not actually going to hold, I'm not actually going to physically hold the gun here, but you don't want to do one of these numbers. You bring it up and go like this, You want to keep it down, point it down, preferably out of view, if you're in your parking lot, you're getting out. Obviously, if you work a duty job, like if you're an officer or you work security like I do, your parking lot, they're going to be, that's obviously a common occurrence to see that, people transition to firearms, but car holsters are a good idea. Like I said, if you live in a state that allows them, it makes it a lot more comfortable to drive. You have easier access to your firearm. Here, I'll put the firearm back in here. I'm going to show a transition one more time. Like I said, when you transition, when you transition, if you have a level 3, unlock your level 3 here. Point the camera at the gun here.
Yeah, you can see it.
Oh, okay. Unlock it, finger off the trigger, keep the weapon pointed down, over, slowly transition the firearm. I keep my finger actually indexed out a little bit just to avoid, it's not going to happen because I'm a safe person, but have the finger get in the trigger guard, index the finger out a little bit, and then slowly slide the weapon into the holster. Obviously, if you have an obstruction where the weapon does not want to go into the holster, don't force it into the holster because it could go off. There's a potential. You want to always make sure, learn that retention, make sure if it doesn't go in there nice and easy, take it back out and look and see and go what's going wrong with it. But yeah, if you have a passenger in the vehicle, they could sit fairly nice. They're not going to, it's not bumping up on their legs or anything like that. I do like how it's at a little bit of an angle, like I said, easy to grab. Just goes to show, even with a very tiny vehicle like this, that you can mount something like this in the vehicle. It's not only big trucks and, Crown Victorias and those bigger cars that people do this in. You can safely and effectively mount a holster in one of these little cars. Just showing an idea how to do it. You guys got any comments or questions, feel free to send me a message, Spartan7.